Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the nighttime edition of the Smite Pro League. We are back, and it's for North America this time. My name, hi-rez Bart. His name, hi-rez Drybear, or just Drybear, depending on
depends.
if you're
I mean, you're willing
saucy.
to say whatever you want. I mean, saucy is a good way to look at it.
Saucy Bear.
Drybear, bringing it in here. So, welcome to the nighttime edition. As Bart was letting you know, this is going to be the NA Pro League version. Of course, we've got a lot of cool players and teams coming together. In fact, a little bit more probably to the forefront of your mental state, just because the NA Pro League kickoff just happened a little while ago, and now all of a sudden you pull that out of your brain, and now you're looking at the NA Pro League start here. The first match we're going to be watching is Team Dignitas up against Cogntive Red.
Oh, boy.
But hang on here. At the finals of the NA Pro League kickoff LAN, it was the same exact two teams, and Cog Red beat them 3-1.
A reprisal of the end of the LAN matchup. Can Dignitas redeem themselves? And as we were saying during face-off, a lot to prove for this team. Two new members on the roster, in addition to Shing, who came over just before ShadowQ and Best did decide to leave the team. Interesting note on ShadowQ. ShadowQ is still technically under contract by Dignitas, as far as I understand it, which is why you don't see him on another team.
So that's like, he's got to actually bring it in here. So, I mean, he has to kind of wait on the subs, or maybe, not really the starting roster for Dignitas, and wait for the contract deal to be sorted out, if it even does get sorted out. But here's the thing, and you have like an all-star player like ShadowQ sitting on the bench for Dignitas just waiting. I mean, there's got to be teams out there that are just hungry for him.
I'm sure. I can think of a couple of them that start with C's that would love to have ShadowQ as part of their roster. Even some S's out there. I'm sure everybody would like to have Snipe.
Whoa! What's the point of the letter?
Well, what I was going to do is go through and say that Snipe was scrimming with the Best. Of course, this was just Jerby was not available, and they wanted to enter into the $1,000 weekly. But maybe some Best going to Snipe.
Maybe
if
Jerby
maybe has a little bit of trouble, maybe.
Lots of hand waving and loud, high-pitched noises going on with that whole deal. But of course, we're hopping into the match shortly, which is going to be, it's an exciting match to watch, right? Because this is going to be a one-off single match between Dignitas and Cog Red. And it really shows not only can Cog Red keep going what they started at the Pro League kickoff, but also can Dignitas fuse together that new lineup quickly. I mean, this is Shing now being injected. He's a great player. He's got a lot of experience. We know that he can do it. But also injecting Na and injecting Dare to Care. Realistically, they only have two of the same players they had at the Pro League kickoff.
Yeah, and like we were saying, Dare to Care matching up with Zapman. Dare to Care, generally speaking, an aggressive style of support player. Will that mesh with Zapman's hyper-aggressive style? ShadowQ always was kind of considered the glue for that team, keeping Zapman from just being a bad feeder and maybe turning him into polishing that kind of rough player and really letting him shine.
Zapman, don't solo the gold theory right
now. Please don't solo that gold theory. Whatever you do, Steve. None of that. But when you really think about it, will they be able to perform without that kind of very analytical, calm style presence? ShadowQ actually behind the scenes known for being kind of a BM player, really, really critical, really gets guys down. So maybe they will be propped up by the fact that they have maybe a more positive support and Dare to Care, although not to say that Dare to Care hasn't had his run-ins with the law of Smite support. So,
well, it's interesting the progression, right? Because when the launch tournament happened, we were meeting with the players, getting them all prepped for the start of the launch tournament. Dignitas made a very strong effort to scare some of the COG members, and Dare to Care was one of them. I actually saw Lasted Zap trying to get Dare to Care into a corner just to scare him away from the day before the launch tournament, and now all of a sudden they're on the same team, so it's curious to see how that's going to be plugged in and see how they're going to work together. But certainly, I mean, they're kind of, they're more, well-known faces, Zapman, Lassus, Shing as well, players that we've known for a very long time since the very early stages of Smite, and see how they can kind of come in here and show their stuff, because at this point in the stage of Smite, right, we're getting to that level where it's just like, we're not dealing with, the excuses or the thoughts or the progress. We're not, really investing in players that aren't putting the effort in.
Sure.
And so, either you perform or you don't, because with how much money that's on the line and the fact that you're playing against the best of the best of the best every single week, multiple times, there's not much room for error here.
But the crowd still behind Team Dignitas here. See a lot of digs in chat. And a lot of dig support across the board. Lassus, the most drafted player in fantasy. Hopefully he puts up those 50 points for all of you. Actually, I hope he doesn't so that my team can stay ahead. And really, it's Gars that does really, really well.
Fantasy forcibly making casters jaded and partial. There you go.
Right.
That's what fantasy is for, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
We're secretly rooting for the player.
I'm rooting for Gars this team, no question. He's my jungler, Lassus. I love him to death, but I hope he feeds.
Man. Oh, man, we shall see. One thing to look at as well is, of course, Gars is a great thing to mention. Gars is a very strong early game character, likes picking up that Thors. We saw Thor Gars very strong in the North American Pro League kickoff land. That title kills me every time. And we're going to be basically watching if Gars can get started early here. Now, obviously, here's the thing, right? Junglers excel when there's room, right? When there's room on the map. Okay. And when you inject 3 new players... Yeah, when you inject 3 new players into a team, there's going to be room, right? There's not going to be a whole lot of rotation and connection between Lassus and Xing early
Especially
on.
Especially
Gnaw in the mid lane.
Like a farm-hungry player like Xing.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Is that, will he be going and maybe rotating and taking that blue buff or those back camps from the enemy team?
Possibly.
Where the jungler could have invaded.
Will that also take away possibilities for Last to get golden experience? He goes over the right side of the map. The back camps are always gone. He falls behind early. Xing gets too far ahead. I mean, that's what it's the kinks you have to work out for you.
Too far ahead, probably not a problem. That's a good problem to have. Damn, our solo laner's way too far ahead.
Xing is the first person in the world to feed a Chinese team.
That's true. Xing
he was actually the first person in the world to ever die
outside of a Western team.
What a record to have, right?
Poor Shingy.
Oh, man. Shingy. So, we're going to the match pretty shortly here, guys. Of course, it's going to be Team Dignitas up against Cogntive Red. The boys of Cogntive Red, and by boys, I mean literally boys. They're all 18 and under.
Right. They are
There's a 14-year-old on that team. So, all eyes, I think, are now on Cogntive Red to see if they can make it. He's 18.
Snoopy's 18.
18.
Wow.
It's 14, 15, 16, 16, 18.
So we do have the first bans coming out, Zhonghui and Geb off of the board there. Zhonghui banned out by Dignitas, Geb by Cog Red. And Dig taking a look here at Thor for old Lassus.
We've got Zhong and Geb banned out here on the main screen. We've got another ban coming out from Dignitas to see if they can ban it out. And they are very intelligent players as they made a lobby with only one ban per side. And they're looking at that. But we do know that Zhonghui and Geb are their first 2 ban selections to see if they can fix that. But, it is leave it to NA.
No. Leave it to Dignitas. Truly a brain trust.
That is true.
This is maybe shades of what happens when Shadow Q leaves.
Oh, man. Oh, because Xing was making the lobby.
Right, it's Xing making the lobby.
Xing was making the lobby. That's what it was. Shingy boy!
He's got a really great personality. We'll get that about him.
You talked a little bit about the fact they were hovering on Thor, and I think this is a big thing for them. I think Dignitas' play, since they have first pick, is to ban the right characters and then pick Thor up first. We know Lassus can play Thor, and we know Gars loves Thor. Now, Gars has other junglers in his pocket, but Thor really allows him to activate
Thor and Hunbots
as his play, right? He likes the highly mobile team fight style junglers like Hunbots and Thor, just because he likes to get ahead early, and once you're ahead early as Hunbots or Thor, they're the right characters.
They are. Those are good characters to be ahead with. And the bots is a big thing for Gars. If we see the Thor ban out, you can already see Dignitas was trying to ban Thor there. That's why they ended up picking it, because that was their second ban because Xing made a bad lobby. But the point here is that they are ascribing to a very, very known path to success against Cog Red, which is don't let Gars get Thor.
Kill Gars.
But is his Hunbot's going to perform? And the thing is if he can just bring another god to the table and get enough respect on it that they have to choose between banning that and Thor, it's going to be almost impossible to play against this team.
Yeah, I mean, they are very focused there, but you still have to consider the fact that they have Boosh, they have Divios, they have very strong plays in the solo and mid, but also you got Snoopy, and Snoopy can pretty much play almost any hunter on the board. Thor is actually going to be banned out there.
There it is, that Thor ban coming through.
Getting banned out, but of course, this is going to leave a lot available. Mercury is available, Xing, could be playing Mercury in that solo. There it is. I'm a freaking prophet.
Oh, well, yeah. Sarkett, the final ban for Cogntive Red.
That's it.
And here you go. Dignitas going to go ahead and take that first pick and lock it right on in for Mercury. There should be a video on the top left indicating that it is
He's
Mercury.
Gone so fast it blacked out the sun.
He's so fast that he blocked out the sun. Wow.
There he is.
Hey, there he is, buddy. And away he goes. Locked in is the god of speed. Also, technically, the god of magic in that pantheon, but we'll not talk about
ignore that.
He's just real
God
fast.
of music being locked in there on the right side. That goes straight to Snoopy. Looks like Ra's going to be hovering on and selected, and Magic's going to go to Divios here. We know Boosh likes his very aggressive mid laners, or could just go for the Ao Guang. I mean, Boosh on Ao Guang is surprisingly effective.
It's been very, very good, yeah. Looking at the response pitch from Team Dignitas with Geb banned out, no big surprise. There's Athena as the first support picked up. And they're going to go ahead and take a Chalk as well, most likely for their solo lane. Lassus likely taking that Mercury to the jungle. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Over the other side, Cogred, they're going to find Giannis for Divios, and this strategy was very effective against Anatoly. Can Shing bring anything else to the table?
Yes, I mean, most of the time that Divios played, Giannis ended up the game, with like 8-2 and 8, 8-2 and 11, 7-3. I mean, he's just so good. They're going to ban out the Vulcan here, just get off the board. This is going to be directly at Nah. They're like, hey, Nah, we kind of did our homework here, and we don't want you to play Vulcan because it's incredibly annoying when you meatball us over and over. So Vulcan's going to be banned out across the way. Looks like Nemesis is gone. This is a shot directly at Gars. Gars likes to back up with his bots, his Nemesis, and his Thor, and bots is going to be the selection for Cognitive Red. No surprises there.
Yeah, it's surprised to see the respect ban against Gnaw there. Gnaw really the only player that, besides Jerby, that plays Vulcan.
I love Vulcan.
All the time at that level. Jerby, most of the time Snipe won't let him play it. It looks like Dignitas was prepared, or at least Cog thought they were, to pick Vulcan for Gnaw.
Yes.
So they're going to limit his God pool a little bit here. We'll see if Gnaw can play something more traditional.
Well, here's the thing, right? That's what's so great. That's what works across the board in all MOBAs. If you're very good at playing a mid-level character and then they ban it, the world is your oyster at that point.
That's right.
You can go up the tier list and get something new. Looks like they're heavy on Isis here. Down there, you're also going to go for Uhl. Zatman plays Uhl incredibly well. And Isis is going to be hovering on, and Magic to be locked in.
They're
so the final lineup here for Dignitas is Mercury in the jungle, Athena, and actually Athena is going to be supporting Uhl at the bottom there, Isis in the mid lane, and Chalk for the solo. Across the way, one more selection to be made for Cog Red. They've got their jungler, they've got their solo mid, and their hunter. They just need a support, and they can pretty much pick anything at this point. Geb and Athena gone, you go for Bacchus.
I love this pick.
Oh boy.
I think Sobek is the most underrated god in the game. I think he's... We actually talked about this quite a bit. We talked about it yesterday, but I think that Sobek is still a very, very, very strong support. He has all the things that are strong in the meta right now. He's fairly mobile. He has great contention of objectives with lurking in the waters, being CC immune. He has knockups. He has displacement. And he has, really maybe most importantly in terms of where the meta sits right now, he has healing reduction built into his kit, which allows him to do a lot of interesting things, and he will be very effective against the Chalk in this game in particular. Look for that in the Teamfight Sickening Strike going out on
honestly, I'm going to go ahead and call this exactly what it is. They don't want Mercury to get big, and Sobek does a very good job shutting that down. You grab the special delivery, you're sitting in one place, your hitbox is standing still, he can grab you, pull you off the person while simultaneously initiating on you, he can tail whip you away, he can slow you with the ultimate. Sobek is very disruptive, and that is so detrimental to a character like Mercury, who needs the time of day to punch, or to grab you. I mean, you go into the mid lane, you initiate here, you're going to grab up something like Ra maybe, or grab Giannis, whatever the case may be. You're spinning in a circle, Sobek grabs you, throws you into the tower every single time. He's got that disruption. You're getting close to punch, you pop your 2, your maximum velocity, tail whips you away. I mean, he's got the disruption that he needs to slow Mercury down, plus the healing reduction like you're mentioning for Chalk, as well as Isis ultimate. I mean, there's a lot of things that goes on there. The weird thing, this is one of the reasons why I personally don't like Sobek, his laning phase is one of the best, by far. He has an incredible laning phase. He, as far as Guardians go, I personally believe, has the weakest laning phase to mid-game transition. He's great mid-game, he's really good late-game, but his transition from laning phase to mid-game, I mean, if he misses his one, he's got a tail-up and that's it. He doesn't really have much else beside that, and most people ignore him for the ultimate. So for those big bursty fights when you transition out of the laning phase, Sobek's not as strong.
Yeah, he does have some trouble really controlling those fights through the middle game, as you mentioned. We'll get back to that here. Let's take a look at Dignitas. Shing is their solo laner. Gnaw, their new mid laner. Lassus and Zatman still here from the original lineup as the jungler and hunter and guardian. Role being held down by Dignitas, similar to Cloud9 actually here. Two primary kind of cores from the team sticking around with 3 new members. But let's take a look over at Cog Red as well before we move on to the game. There they are. Look at that logo. So
Cog
nice.
Red.
And opening right back up here will be those panels just like that. And here see the boys that won the North American Kickoff LAN for $50,000. Divios, the youngin' in the solo lane.
14 years old.
Giannis, the Boosh, and Snoopy. And Ionic, really old guard.
Yes.
Dagar's a little bit newer than they are, but we're still talking 18 months ago, which is basically ancient for competitive Smite.
Snoopy played on Denial. Ionic played on Cog. They're both subs for a very long time. Gars, of course, has been around for a very long time himself. Boosh and Divios are very new, but here's the thing, right? Boosh has been new to people that watch only tournaments. Boosh is not new to anyone who plays ranked, anyone who plays scrims, because he's a fantastic player. He's been around for a long time, and the way he performs does not surprise anyone who plays on the ranked ladder, because he's always getting those kills. You get into a game, you're like, oh, it's Boosh again. I got to worry about where I'm going. And he showed that at the NA Pro League kickoff.
Actually.
Yeah,
he's a similar kind of player.
Top
ranked player, known by a lot of teams, subbed here and there. You've seen him around, you know the name, but never really seen him if you only watched top-level competitive Smite, and here you get an opportunity to see that.
And here's the thing. I mean, Bush came out swinging at the NA Pro League kickoff, and one of the highest-rated mid laners in the entire series. And Divios as well. I mean, both those players are incredibly strong. Divios actually had a little bit of competitive career for a little while. He played solo for a little while. After that, now he's coming back strong. He's actually on a full roster this time, so we'll see what he can do as we hop into game here. Team Dignitas up against Cogntive Red. Again, this is a single match to see who can win for the day. Today is Wednesday, and we'll see what the victor really goes to. Honestly, I mean, there's a lot of stability on the side of Team Dignitas. They've got, of course, Chalk and Athena together. That's going to have a silence, and they have the 2 silences on their team. They have a taunt. They've got a stun. They've got a grab. They actually have 2 stuns, and a lot of damage with the way of Isis and Ull and Mercury together with that hyper carry. Across the way, they don't really have a hyper carry on Cog Red, so that's not going to be the big thing for them. But let's go ahead and introduce the teams.
Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 1 of the night for the North American Pro League. My name, hi-rez Bart, co-commentary, hi-rez Dry Bear, and let's get this bad boy going. The blue team fighting on the order side of the map, the bottom side of your mini-map, and the left side of your spectator UI. They are in the blue trunks. It is Team Dignitas. They'll be Gnaw in the mid lane as Isis. Shing will be holding down the solo as the Heartseeker Rush, Chalk, Zapman, and Dare to Care are going to be combining for the duo lane Uller and Athena. And the captain in the jungle is Lassus on Mercury. And they're moving as 5 to the left side of the map here. We'll hold the introductions for Cog. Doesn't look like, looks going to be okay. We'll go through it quickly. Red team, top side of the minimap, right side of the UI. It is Cognitive Red. It's going to be Ionic pairing up with Snoopy for the very powerful Sobek Apollo duo. Degars is going to be your junglers. Hunbots. The Boosh is Raw in the mid lane, and Divios will be your solo lane. Giannis. I can't believe they didn't go in there and make a try on Snoopy.
What are they doing?
Dignitas just saying hi.
Their warm-up lap? They just run around the map and get their legs loosey-goosey, get the blood flowing? I mean, they walked right by a Snoopy standing in the mid lane outside the tower, not paying attention, must have been looking at the store or something, and they walked right by him and didn't do anything. So I don't know what that was or what they're doing. They do have 3 players on the right side of the map. Looks like Athena's going to come back over and help Ull with the blue buff. Maybe they're just checking out the early setup to see where people are, and then they ward the mid and then run away. I don't really know. This is some new meta stat. Is that what it is?
I may follow the feeder. I didn't see it was in front, but
ooh, there you go.
If it was Steve, then yeah, we know the answer to that question.
Steve, the goal for you is up. Go get it.
Hey, ouch.
Mid are meeting up here. Boosh and Gnaw meeting together, and this is the big debut for Gnaw as well. Boosh already got his debut at the NA Pro League kickoff LAN, but now Gnaw, all eyes are on him to see if he can replace the one, the only, the best in the mid lane here, and that's going to be a bit of a staple for Dignitas. And I think this is an amazing matchup. I mean, realistically, this is where you look and to see, is Cog Red up to snuff, and can Dignitas bring it together?
He could be very good, but it's going to be hard to be the best.
That's true.
Only one man has the gumption to name himself the best in a video game.
Right.
He was pretty good, but I think that that Gnaw definitely brings a breath of fresh air to the team, right? Very, very different god pool selection than Best. Best more of the kind of Agni, Ao Kwang style of player. A little bit of
left side. Ionic taking harassment here, jumping over the side of Zapman, looking for the kill on Ionic, dropping him low. He dashes away. The Axe is going to miss there, and Ionic goes back to tower. But I love the decision here by Team Dignitas. What they're doing is they're actually bringing down the amount of HP on the side of Ionic, making sure that he doesn't have enough HP to initiate. And if you bring Sobek less than half, it brings their likelihood of starting a fight in that long lane to almost nothing.
Sure. That's right. And let's check in with the solo lane here as we look at Shing and Divios. And Shing doing quite a nice job here of putting the harassment down onto Divios, who does have the superior burst in Giannis. But one of the things that you hear other professional players talk about a lot, and analysts as well, about Shing is one of the very best when it comes to 1v1 boxing of other players. A very, very kind of gifted duelist in Smite. One of the reasons why he was so successful out of the jungle was his ability to fight other junglers and go 1v1 against other DPS classes, which should transition quite well into the solo lane. And I think he's gotten himself a very nice and favorable matchup for his playstyle here in the Chalk versus Giannis. Both of them able to put out quite a bit of damage and burst each other.
And that's exactly what they're trying to do here. We see the mid lane, though. Gnaw is holding on to his lane pretty effectively. Gnaw is going to be sitting at 2360 gold. Across the way, we've got the Boosh at 2270. So about 100 gold up in the mid lane. We see Lassus running by and get some golden experience from this wave, tagging it up. He's level 5 now. We're both level 5. Looking to get a kill possibly here on Boosh. He's paying attention, popping the ultimate, looking to just poke it down. One of the greatest, mental teases about Mercury, just clapping.
Clap.
Just let them think about it. And you see every time, most players, even if they're veteran, they'll get behind the tower.
You don't want to get Mercury's clap.
Nope.
It's not a good thing to have. You don't want to get the clap from Mercury.
He can hit multiple people too instantly.
Yeah, he just gets that clap everywhere. So
that's right.
You don't want that from Mercury. Well, we have a pretty even game here, guys. 3 minutes in, we're separated by basically nothing. Couple hundred gold, almost no experience.
Shing's going Heartseeker though.
All in. But Guard's positioning here is ready to go. Yeah, he loaded out with that Heartseeker, in fact.
Yep.
And definitely has enough gold to finish at 1,200 gold, but that's why it's kind of an awkward rush, I think, for the solo laner. Because I would assume that he's going to go into early boost on top of that, or the early height of the Urchin, but it's unlikely he's going to stay in lane long enough to get both of them there. He does find a moment to go back and finish off his Heartseeker and boots one.
We'll see if he can pick it up here. I mean, the mid lane we got Lass is hanging out for quite some time, leashing a lot of experience here from Gnaw. In mid lane with Boosh, he's going to meet up with Eonic and Gars. Gars actually a little bit behind in the experience department. Looking at the gold numbers, Gars 2,800 across the way. Lass is at 2,970. He's about 200 gold behind almost. So Gars is struggling in the gold department a little bit. Looks like he's not moving as much as Lassus is. Solo lane, we see Shing going up against Divios. Pretty even across the board there. 2,900 for Shing. Boosh at 27. So Boosh Divios. Divios is actually a little bit ahead of Shing, but 50 gold, that's not really that much.
That's basically a creep. It's about 10 last hits, so we'll see which one he's up in. In fact, a very passive game. Considering that we have a Mercury and a Hunbot's jungle, both of which are really excel as gankers, it's I gotta say it's pretty surprising to see that we don't have any action. In fact, we have very low player damage. Gnaw has 0 player damage.
0 player damage.
He has
not hit a person.
So that's tough.
Well, Gars has done 67, and Boosh has done 84. They have not touched each other in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Very fascinating.
I mean, they're perfectly happy to let the other farm, although, then let's talk about, who benefits the most from free farm in the mid lane.
Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Isis. Isis played by Gnaw. Isis scales very, very quick. And now, Ra, here's the other thing for Ra. Ra is one of those characters, he's going to be good all game long. He's got a heal, a good slow, good distance with the ultimate. The problem is that if Ra gets a lot of gold, all of a sudden he's unkillable and does more damage than any other mage. So if Ra gets 2-3 levels ahead, he's got about 600 to 1,000 gold individually over the mid laner. Now you've got a serious problem. But the rest of that, Ra's going to be around the same depending on how he plays. Heading home, a lot of players from Cogred going home. There looks like Gars, Divios, as well as actually 4 players all going home. Going to be healing up, buying their items. Are they going to be looking to pick something up here? All boots finished. We've got Devour's gloves on Snoopy. That was a little bit strange.
It's really tough to say much about this match. I mean, let's be perfectly honest here. 5 minutes, 31 seconds in, you have players who don't have player damage. It's very, very clearly a game that both teams are very comfortable taking to the late stages. And when you look at it, both teams have a really good shot at being the superior team in late stage. Between Divios' Giannis and the Hunbots and Apollo all scale very, very effectively in the late stage of the game, but so does, Uller with his very, 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 very strong stim. And then you have Lassus' Mercury also going very late, and Gnaw can put out the magical damage as well on top of that. With abilities to hit 4 or 5 times, the scaling just adds up so much. And when you have 500-600 magical power as a late game Isis should have, it gets pretty dangerous. So it's going to be an interesting game. Gar's going to go ahead and pop the ultimate onto Gnaw. Gnaw forced to use his as well. There's an Athena ultimate coming out. Ooh. Oh, there comes the through space and time, and they're going to go deep here onto Gnaw. They really want to find this kill. Pluck is not coming out from Sobek yet. There he dashes through, but Gnaw explodes to that Boosh, and now it's Lassus to fall as well. Double kill for the Boosh, and they're going to keep on in here. There's a slow coming out from Boosh, but Zatman able to leap away from that, and this should be a Gold Fury. Easy peasy.
Dinnercare has no ultimate. He's going home. He's too low. Dinnercare has to walk back. No ultimate available. This is going to be a free Gold Fury like you were mentioning. The Hog not even necessary. They're just going to clear it out by hand as Shing watches in horror. Slowed down by the Rob. Might get a body block in here. Gars over the wall looking for a slow. Going to get on top. Oh, pops the ultimate for silence. Going to interrupt the hit there. Actually, a little bit of hit damage coming out from Divios, but that's going to be about it. All she wrote for the fight. 2-0. Cogred gets first and second blood, as well as a Gold Fury. Suddenly, Cogred is 2,700 gold in the lead. 3,600 experience to boot. 7 minutes into the game, Dignitas has yet to get anything on the board.
Yeah, that's what's so dangerous about these games going 5-10 minutes before you see the kill. When those first kills do come out, the players are worth so much that it can very easily snowball a game. And when you're talking about a Giannis that was involved in 2 kills and a Ra that got those 2 kills, we're kind of talking about what we said would be the worst case scenario. 2-level advantage for the boost, Divios getting ahead, getting his items up. And, at this point, they will outpace Dignitas. If this keeps up, they'll have the superior scaling through the 15 to 20 minute mark, where Dignitas' team should be really strong as the Mercury comes online with his first crit item.
Well, we'll see how long it takes him to get it, though. Just having the boots right now. Shing taking a lot of damage on the right side. Looking for Divios, though. Mercury's in the fight. Also coming out. He portals into nothing. No portal going to create. He actually just shot his ultimate into the wall. The outside wall, though, so nothing to be gained there. Divios going to go down for free. There's nothing to get on the right side of the map. They can't even really push this tower just yet. They may be able to get some damage on it. Looks like that's exactly what they're going to try to do here. But a kill on Divios is a kill for victory.
A kill for victory. Yeah, you know, he was just trying to get away from the CC there, using his ultimate to channel it. Didn't really care much what it was going to do with it. Granted, he could have turned around and shot it at him just for... He didn't dare to have a care. It would have just been too dangerous to care there. But Shing, 1-0-0 with his Heartseeker, looking pretty good. And, you know, what do you transition out of this, though? It's got to be a defensive item. Snoopy in a lot of trouble over the left side lane as a Mercury ultimate rips through. Easy peasy. Lassus takes a lot of damage from that get off my lawn. Gars can still port in, but he's going to wait a little bit too long. It bounces back to the minion, and he will not continue his quest on in there. But Lassus and Zapman both fairly low as Dare is forced to rotate over.
We see Dignitas helping Zapman out here. Zapman's staying a long time in the lane even after his mana runs out, and it's actually helping him a lot. Looking at Snoopy right now, we do see that he is 4,700 gold across the way. Zapman is at 44, so realistically, you know, Snoopy's got the gold he needs. I mean, the rotation coming out on the other side there from Ionic is really helping him. And the fact that Ionic's got so much gold right now is going to make such a big difference. I mean, he's 400 gold ahead of the enemy support on Dare to Care. And looking at Zapman, he's even 200, 300 gold ahead of Zapman himself. So the fact that Sobek's got gold too is not a good sign.
Yeah, that is not a good sign. He'll have his sovereignty done, and then he can build into something snarky like a Witchblade to help deal with this Uller and Shing and Lassus. In fact, that would be a great pickup in this game. After that sovereignty, go ahead and pick up that attack speed slow aura. Or you can go for the Magus Blessing, or even a Breastplate of Valor and try to get a little more damage out of it.
I like Voidstone or Soul Reaver on Sobek. It hurts so much.
Oh, he hits like
ridiculous.
A truck. One of the only supports besides, well, he's the only support besides Kabrakan that has all 4 of his abilities dealing damage and scaling. So,
right.
Magical power can be very, very effective on a Sobek. In fact, we've seen him play solo lane a couple times in professional play.
That's right. But they've got, you know, Shing, Zapman, and Lass all doing physical damage and a lot of it. So he may go down the other road, just getting physical protection and keep himself alive. Gars leading the charge here towards the Fire Giant area on the map. Behind the mid lane, though, Ionic is coming in hot, looking for a possible grab. Maybe the taunt comes through. Taking very little damage from this harassment. Mid camp will end up going the side of Cog Red as that Unstable Vortex comes on through, ripping on out of it. Divios right now, does he have a pot?
Purple pot?
Oh, no, that's a weird glow on my screen. Looks like he doesn't have it here, but he was glowing purple on mine.
When he goes through his
right, it's the passive, but it was more vortex. Than that. It looked like it was more.
More than a passive.
It was more than that.
Well, 3 manning the mid lane here is Cognitive Red. Dignitas going to hold them out, easily clear that away. And it looks like we're just kind of waiting on maybe the gold Fury to respawn before either team is going to get too aggressive. Lass is channeling an ultimate, but there's not much he's going to be able to do with that. He'd have to go very deep in enemy territory at this point. Divios once again shoves that right side wave into the tower, finishing his Book of Thoth, heading back to the base. That is a pretty nice timing on a Book of Thoth at 10.5 minutes.
Well, I mean, Boosh already has his Warlock Sash as well. I mean, look across the way. All they have is boots, and they're just now starting their second item. Shing has Heartseeker into boots. Zapman just now about to finish his boots, and Lassus only has the hidden dagger. I mean, you need more than just that first item for Mercury, especially when you're this far behind. So, you know, everything's looking great for Cognitive Red. Dignitas has 2 kills on the board. They're starting to catch up a bit, but at 11 minutes, they're already 2,000 gold behind and 1,900 experience. So it seems to be a bit of a repeat of the NA Pro League Kickoff LAN Finals.
Yeah, it does. I mean, Cognitive Red is in control of this game. It's really only the Gold Fury to their credit so far, and a couple of kills. Dignitas has answered back, but of course, First Blood also going to Cognitive Red, helping them out. Gar's getting very nice farm, pulling a bit ahead of Lassus here. Lassus is trying to build into that, what I assume to be the early Deathbringer build again on Mercury, just going for that burst damage and trying to get lucky with those major looks. And now Cognitive Red, once again, lining up for the Gold
Great
Fury.
timing.
Dare to Care's here, but they do have a Hunbot's ultimate as well as a Lurking in the Waters. It makes this fairly difficult. Once again, they're going to turn their attention to Gnaw here, and he takes a lot of damage from the Hunbots. Forced out, Snipe coming through, but he's going to be healed up. Gar's in a lot of trouble. Can they find the final hit? Lassus will indeed get it. Crashing in is Snoopy through space and time, coming from the solo lane. Shing is already here, however. Divios finds a kill on the Gnaw. What a play there, putting that shotgun in. Ionic now lurking in the water, trying to find the damage on Lassus. It will not be enough, and now he's in full retreat as another axe comes ripping through from Shing. Divios still here, but getting body blocked, now caught between two.
Nice
Gonna be able to pour it out. using that collision to get very, very far there, and it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. The jungler traded for the mid laner, and I think that that's in favor of Dignitas there. They'll give up Gnaw to get Gars, stop his snowball, while Lassus does not die and find himself an assist. All of those things are good.
Ooh, portal there, going to land on top, burst damage. There's the charge prey, and a big hit. Ionic gets the kill. Dare to Care a little bit too far forward. I don't even know what he was looking for there. He was just backing in the middle of the mid camp, losing his opportunity. Now the Gold Fury is available with no Dare to Care. They don't have a hog. Punch down the ward is going to be Lassus, but they cannot get on this fight. If they get too close, they may even lose their life. Zetman recognizes the fact. Shing dropping low, pops his Thunder Axe across the wall. Going to use the torrent to get away from it, using the material to make sure that he is perfectly safe. The Gold Fury goes down again. Cogred coming out on top, huge in that overall engagement in the beginning. 3,800 gold in favor of Cogred. I mean, Dig had a pretty decent fight there, but it didn't seem like they had a plan to follow up with it, and they also chased it a little bit too much. I mean, they got the initial. I mean, they picked off Gars. That was huge. Taking that big presence out of the fight, able to control everything, but the problem is they didn't do anything after that, and they just hung around without purpose, and that allowed Cogred to pick off Dare to Care, force Lassus out of the fight. Zetman went back to the lane to farm, and the Gold Fury was free.
Yeah, the opportunity cost of buying that that Hand of the Gods 3 there, the Wrath on Dare to Care. The fact that he didn't even get it to contest with it means that he bought this item about 5 minutes earlier than he would have normally had to. Had he, you know what I'm saying here? Like,
taunt right side, Davius in trouble. There goes ultimate coming out of Humbots. Just need a little bit more. One more base can do it. Buying time with the portal. Can they get it? They pick it off there with Lassus' help. Shing dropping low though. Gars gets the kill and dies. It's a 2-for-1 exchange, and there was no support coming.
You know, it was pretty good of them to actually get a return kill there. It was a pretty aggressive dive by Dignitas, and it looked fairly safe. But
yeah,
Apollo. Apollo's going to come crashing in, but they're not going to have too much. Ionic may flick back Dare to Care here, but there's not too much more doing unless Boosh is going to find the snipe on the back of this, not even channeling it. So that's going to be that for now. As they're going to fall back. But like I was saying, he bought this Wrath of the Gods to contest that Gold Fury, and now it's going to be another 5 minutes before he's going to get to use it. He could have used that 600 gold to finish off his sovereignty, and that would have changed perhaps that fight. I mean, it's very, very difficult. And going into that fight, Ionic has now finished his sovereignty as well. So all around the board, it was a very, very important engagement for Cogred. And another thing I want to point out that we didn't really touch on in the early stages of the game, because I think, frankly, we missed it, is how much synergy there is between the Giannis and the Sobek.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as you're landing, pick him up. I mean, really anyone that can do anything can combo with Sobek. I mean, vice versa with Giannis as well. I mean, the portal's a great setup. The charge spray is a great setup. I mean, there's so many ways you can combine those two together. And we saw it there, right? The portal, as he's falling, grab him with the charge spray, bring him right back into the team. Or even vice versa. You can launch them into a portal, same way that Artemis and Sobek work well together, play the trap where they're going to land from the charge spray, but the portal right there, they fall into it. Nothing they can really do. So CC chains really work well. Looks like Boosh is either going for a Soul Reaver or a Book of Thoth. Now, given the fact that all towers are up right now, the objectives are down, this could very well be a Book of Thoth, but Divius on the right side taking a lot of damage. Portaling, how is that portal so long?
It's an ult.
Oh my giggles. Some distance.
Yeah, he ults away there. Good news for Dignitas, even though Cognitive Red does have the lead, is that Lassus is ahead of Gars. 1, 2, and 3 on Gars. 2, 1, and 3
grabbing
for
Gars.
Lassus. Right side lane, yeah, indeed. We do have a bit of trouble.
Thunderstrike.
Ultimate forced to come out. Shing looking for the damage. Athena coming in as well, throwing out the axe, forcing Gars back into an awkward position. Here comes the ultimate over the top, and that is an easy kill secured. Even though they have to die between the tier 1 and the tier 2, they should be able to make it out A-okay as Lassus continues pouring damage into that tower. A very, very nice play from Dignitas indeed. But over the top is Apollo finding that knockup. Gnaw does stun out Boosh, preventing the burst damage coming through on the back of that knockup from Snoopy. This is good news for Dignitas. Dare to Care going to take some damage for his trouble. But they're going to initiate into that Isis ultimate. It's going to heal them back up. The snipe not doing too much to any of the low targets. Shing to fall here in this fight. That's a good pick for them. Ionic chasing down Dare to Care. Where in the backside, Lassus trying to find a little bit more damage. Forced to use his beads over a portal. And now it's simply up to, Snoopy and Boosh to run him down. And they're going to do so with a single auto attack. However, in the meantime, this does make a lot of space for Zetman, who's continuing to farm and push into the tier 2 at left.
That's the downside of having, Apollo versus the character like Uul. Apollo can join the fight. Uul can't. I mean, they got 500 gold for the tier 1. Gars should be there in time to defend this tier 2, possibly, unless they commit to it. Oh, wow. Gnaw getting picked off there on the right side. Backing between the towers, and Ionic finds him. Wow, and here's the thing, right? I got to give credit to Dignitas for the way they played that fight, looking for Gars, right? They knew that Shing, as well as Dare to Care, would be able to get the kill. They got the damage. He didn't have a jump available. They had the kill secured. And so what Lassus did is he just stuck to the tower, took it down. He knew that he didn't need to help, got the tower down. The problem is they stuck a little bit too long, and I got to give credit to Ionic there. Instead of involving himself in the fight, because he knew Dignitas was split. There was one person in the lane, one in the jungle, and one above. Lassus was flanking behind that. They were so scattered heard that Enoch wasn't necessary, he went into the jungle down to his tower and split them. He basically said, no, you're going to the tower. I'm going to split away and, look like a Xing on the left side. You're going to the jungle. You're both split away because Enoch's going to stand physically between them. And then after the fact, he waited for Na to go home and picked him up. So Enoch is really just running this own silent game and just splitting them up as a good support does, whereas the fight just continued behind him.
And once again, I'm right on item predictions. It is going to be the Witchblade for Yannick. I'm getting good at this, I think. 2 Book of Thoths over in Cogntive as well, meaning
Smite.
that they are going to be significantly outscaling Dignitas. Looking at their itemization, you do have the crit coming up for Lassus, but he's still pretty far away from a high damage crit item. Golden Bow really more of a bridge item for Mercury, speeding, accelerating his farm as well as giving him some base crit. Gnaw did go into Divine Ruin early on to shut down healing, but also not giving him a lot of damage. Xing forceable defensively, and Zapman the only one really going a full damage build, where on the other side, you do have Bush and Divio, both with a finished Book of Thoth.
Snoopy coming in the left side, looking for Zapman. Taunt comes out. Damage is going to come through here. Yannick is joining in on the fun, but looks like the party is over. Lassus and Xing on the way over. Giannis ultimate going to come through. Not going to hit anyone. Looking for a follow-up. Thunderrock's on the ground. Not going to do a whole lot. There goes the taunt. There goes the Humat's ultimate on Xing, though. Not the greatest target to start on. Uses the torrent to get away on top of Bush. There goes the Duncan Cup. Apollo's up at the end looking for a follow-up. The ball is going to land on no one. Gar's on top. Gets the damage. Xing goes down, but looks like Gar's will follow as well. Portal on the ground. Big ultimate from Bush. Going to get Na on the backside. Now looking for Xing. Bush going deep. Going to find Zapman. The heal keeps him alive for long, but how long does he really need before his team can join in on the fun? Looking for Lassus on the back. Snoopy needs a shot. The portal. The unstable is going to miss. Lassus jukes it out. He's still alive. Needs some kind of damage here to get the kill. There goes the Major Look. Does not get the kill on Snoopy, but overall it's a victory for Cog Red.
Wow, I can't believe Lassus juked that. But yeah, Cog Red definitely pulling ahead again there. And I do want to go back and touch on when we saw Zapman going and pushing that tier 2. The very, very nice response from Cog Red is they're going to look to clean up Zapman here, and if they want to dive this, they certainly can. But what I do want to point out is that they noticed Zapman was taking the tier 2. They send back their Hun bots, and then they took the tier 1 mid and the tier 1 and tier 2 on the right side lane. Very, very heads-up play to not panic and try to go stop that split push, but to go and say, okay, look, we'll trade, and we'll get the better of that trade. And that's yet another thing that's put Cog Red now ahead by 6,000 gold.
Ooh. Data Care avoiding the Giannis ultimate only just there. Gold for going to go down again to Cog Red. Like you were mentioning, it's just getting bigger and bigger. 7,400 gold in favor of Cog Red, 10-7 as we cross over by the 20-minute mark. The map control is very much in favor of Cog Red here. Granted, the tower situation on the left side of the map is favoring Team Dignitas. They have a lot of towers still standing, but only one ahead of Cog Red right now. Only one ahead. Cog Red is a tower up. That right side tier 2 is destroyed. Left side tier 2 is pretty weakened, so we'll see if Zap can get over there and clear that one out. But the gold is definitely very much in favor of Cog Red. The experience as well. Fire Giant is standing tall, and the Gold Fury, although warded by Cog Red, there's not a whole lot of wards on the Fire Giant side.
Fairly non-standard itemization here from Gar. Shifter Shield coming out. Does have 4 deaths to his name
that's
so
very
far. As the 3rd item on bots?
He runs that every single time. Those first 3 items is
I see
exactly
it on his 4, but not on
He built it every time on bots.
I seem to recall him building Magi's Blessing in that slot, but he's going to take Shifter Shield. Either way, defensive item making sense here with his 4 deaths and having some trouble, but he does have the 5 assist to his name, so he's getting involved in the fight, certainly.
You've got Chalk, Uhl, and Mercury. Why not build a bunch of physical defense?
Yeah, for sure. No, it makes tons of sense. And a lot of trouble. Crits coming through. There comes a get off my lawn from Old Man Hun bots.
Oh, the beats!
Takes overhead smash and does go down. Heads up play by Garza using the beats, gets the additional cooldown. Lassus coming dashing through. Should be enough to pick up a kill onto the monkey. Indeed it will as Xing comes over the top with that ultimate. But now he's forced to get out of this fight. There comes a lurking in the waters. He's going to drop. Yannick is here as well, and he's going to take the additional damage as the next set of balls does come flying through. Yannick does find credit for that kill, and that's very important. Sobek getting gold is huge, as we mentioned earlier. 3-0-6 for Yannick. Maybe you should have drafted him as your support, Dry Bear.
Maybe, honestly, if I had a support, I would have that. But look at this. Every single fight, Na and Xing are dying. I mean, Zapman hasn't died once. Lassus died twice, and once on Data Care. It seems like Na and Xing are the main targets. Either that, or they're just not, getting out of the fight early enough. And they're just the free picks every time. 5 deaths on Na, 0, 5, and 3. He started off great in the lane, but he's just not positioning himself well, and Cog Red are punishing him for it. Look at the charts right now. It's just getting more and more. We're already over the 10K mark for gold, and that's the one where you start to feel the overwhelming weight. Lassus is going to get hit by a blind celestial beam over the wall by Bush as he heads on home. What a fantastic lineup here for Cog Red, showing their stuff off. The Gold Fury is not going to be up for another 2.5 minutes or so. Across the way, Fire Giant is still standing. Ward's coming out from Dignitas. They know that they can't let Fire Giant go.
Yeah, they'll be in a lot of trouble to take this Fire Giant down.
Man.
That'll be the rest of the towers. But yeah, take a look at Zapman here. Last is coming in to help out his teammate Snoopy. Now the one in trouble. Force a dash away. Last should be able to clean this up pretty easy. One more in hand. And yeah, Snoopy just trying to buy time as the through space and time comes ripping through. But the angle not going to be good. And that's going to be that for Divios. Oh, wait. He may actually be able to get into range here on Elasis. Oh! It does indeed. Elasis in a lot of trouble now. Divios, can he pursue? He's going to get the speed buff. Elasis trailing the ultimate. But look at the positioning from Gars. Can he chase him down? Leap already used. And no, he cannot. Even with the ports coming through. Divios looks like he wants to dive it, but is going to think better of it, and that's going to be that. But almost a death from the captain on a lazy back there. Lassus nearly falling.
Credit goes to Lassus for waiting a little bit longer to get the distance on his ultimate. There was Gars waiting for him as Zapman gets jumped on here. Athena ultimate coming out. The ball's not going to land from Ice. The silence on the ground. Athena ultimate going to do a little bit of damage here to Divios as they back on off. Civil Vortex coming out. Zapman dropping low. Gars wants his kill. He's fighting hard. He beats the overhand smash, but can't clear it out. Zapman not going to follow up on that kill as he does see Divios right in his face. Oh, look at this position for Boosh. Boosh is pushing him out of the fight. He kept 3 players at bay.
They did indeed, and yeah, they're gonna bail out the bots there, which is very good news for them. And another thing is that they have Ionic here at full health and most of his mana, so they're not in any danger of getting that backstab Fire Giant taken against them here. Ionic should be able to zone out Dignitas, or at least his presence have it be felt long enough to get his team to rally.
Well, you got some wards all over the map here. Great coverage from both teams. Actually, neither team really taking the advantage in wards. We do see the right side of the map covering on the Fire Giant Sentry ward coming out from Team Dignitas. Of course, that's Dare to Care and his ability to predict the future and making sure that Fire Giant area is completely covered by them. Look at that animation. We can see that Boosh is now going for penetration. Of course, you're going to desperately need it after you go for CDR, HP, and then hard damage value. That penetration is lacking very much so. Ionic going to go the way of Stone of Gaia here. This is going to help him take less damage from Na or Dare to Care, but he is very much invincible at this point. Plus, he's got a lot of healing and healing reduction with his Sickening Strike. Left side, we got Zapman jumping away from Snoopy, leashing the blue buff away. Snoopy going to go back and try and fight this, but there's 3 players on the way.
Yeah, Son of Gaia is one of those items that's not tremendously cost effective, and you're paying a lot for stats that you don't necessarily really need in the MP5 and HP5, but the 2% max health regen every 5 seconds is pretty good. The 100 HP is really good, and the 70 magical protection is huge. And so you end up you get this item, and it's basically a pure defensive item. Some of these other items are aura items, maybe some support, some utility. Son of Gaia is a pure magical defense item, and on top of his Witchblade and Sovereignty, this makes Ionic, as we mentioned, damn near unkillable. His passive also adding another 15 on top of that.
Well, the big thing about it is it's great for characters that are naturally hard to kill, right? Because if you're burstable, Son of Gaia is going to do nothing for you, but that's not Ionic right now. Grabbed up by Lassus, look for the punch. The taunt comes out, taking a lot of damage, but he's still very, very tanky. And here's the thing. He's got a lot of regen. He's going to regen that back up naturally. You got 25 HP 5 in Stone of Gaia, heal from Sickening Strike, and 2% of his maximum HP every 5 seconds. It's like he didn't even get into a fight. The Gold Fury just got soloed by Snoopy and Boosh while Dignitas were sitting there fighting the alligator, trying to make some boots or a purse, and they weren't able to do it.
Didn't they hear us telling him that he's unkillable and that's a waste of time?
Yeah, they're not listening.
Shing taking a lot of damage here as Boosh comes in. The Unstable Vortex as well, doing quite a bit through space and time, ripping through. Didn't find any damage, but does split the team.
Nice
Shing
portal.
to fall now to Divios with a brilliantly placed portal, and I don't understand why they let him get this god.
Well, no, again, out of position. Nowhere to go, getting trapped here. The damage coming out. Huge damage from Divios. Double kill coming out there. There's the portal. Paul's coming on top. CC Muni's not going to do enough for Zapman. He gets body blocked into a wall. Dare to Care is trapped here. Nowhere to go. Tries to taunt away. He's leashing them away from objective, trying to buy time. Lassus shouldn't even be in this fight. What is he doing up here? He cannot do anything about this. The teleport's not going to come out, but there goes the teleport from Divios to the wall. There goes the hit. Needs some damage. Popping the ultimate fist of the gods. He turns around to fight, but why? Why would he turn that quadra kill into a deicide? He knew. And Dare to Care was buying time for the team to survive. He was wasting their time by getting them away from objectives, and Lassus says, "What you doing over here?"
Yeah, this should be the game here for Cogntive Res. They pile in. They do have the minions streaming in as well in just a moment, but they don't even need them. They face tank the Titan, and that is an easy victory for Cogntive Red. That one felt like it was very, very resolute, really. They got their first foothold. They got their first Gold Fury, and they just kept on top of Dignitas. Moments there where Dignitas did win one team fight, but we just didn't see them really turn that corner at any point, and they couldn't deal with the aggressive scaling. Once those double Book of Tots came out,
oh boy,
it was pretty much at that point you realized it was going to be very difficult, very uphill for Dignitas. They were going to get outscaled. The gods were burstier over on Cogntive Red side, and the Rod of Tahuti on Giannis really sealed the deal in that fight at the end.
Well, a lot of it just came down to the fact that, it was just a lot of free kills for Cogntive Red. I mean, we saw Na end that game there. He's going to be sitting at 0-6-3. A lot of times he just didn't have the positioning. Here's the thing. Isis is not a character you want to play if you don't have good positioning, because you don't have a bailout. There is no get-out-of-jail-free card for Isis. She's going to get a stun, she's going to pop her ultimate, and hope she doesn't die.
And even your ultimate takes, what, 4, 5, 6 seconds of
to stack
damage
up enough. That's right.
To stack up enough to really be a deterrent to
you got
diving.
a silence and a short-range stun, but it's a little difficult to hit if you're not getting the right positioning. And if they're in your face, it's even harder to hit. And it just wasn't a good situation. Now, of course, he did get early damage and gold gain by Mercury, played by Lassus, but he didn't activate in time. And the problem is he went for golden bow instead of crit damage. And so rushing that golden bow when your team is behind means you have clear, you can farm, but your punching is not going to do enough. I mean, you'll split the damage, yes, but golden bow is not I'm going to punch this person and hurt them item. It's
a late game.
I want to poke them, and I want to clear a little bit faster. And maybe late game, I'll do a lot more in Splash.
Speaking of late game, let's take a look at late game Divios' damage here. He will find the banish on a chalk through space and time, ripping through, and he goes with it. Doesn't find that much damage, but he will pick up that kill on a chalk with the portal there, as you saw. Now dropping his gateway, going to put out the burst onto Sobek as well.
Here?
And what you saw that Mercurial come out was really unfortunate is that he actually cast that right as the Apollo was taking to the skies.
Body block.
Apollo comes crashing down, knocking up both, and here comes the rest of the damage from Divios as Snoopy finds that kill onto Zap, man. And Divios really just doing tremendous amounts of damage. You can see how much he plays this Giannis here. If that replay does not get hey, there's our transition. Hi, everybody. Well, actually, what you see is that Divios plays that god so much. You saw when he was actually trying to pursue Lassus, he placed this portal in this spot that took him to exactly where he wanted to go, and it was hundreds of feet away.
That's right.
A very, very tenured Giannis player, something we don't have very much of.
Learning about the portals, where they go, the animations, the time it takes. Because, of course, there's a setup time before you're able to go into the portal after you cast it. And knowing those timings is important, and Divios has that down pat. But again, my major criticism in that last fight is, Lass had a chance to stay alive and keep them off the Phoenix, maybe poke them down when they go for the Titan. But he decided that, and realistically, what did he accomplish by going up there? He pressed 1 and got a major look off, and that was it. He just smacked them once and was like, can I go home, please? And they're like, absolutely not, you're dead.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of scat. And this is what you expect, right? A lot of criticism coming out for them, but at the same time, they just injected 3 new players into their roster. They're trying to bring it all together. Of course, that's not going to work right away. It's a great first week showing from Team Dignitas, but an even better first week showing from Cogntive Red, showing that exactly what they could do at the NA Pro League kickoff LAN, they're going to do it again online.
Yeah, that's right. And, I think that you see the mental mistakes, like you mentioned, adding the new players.
Right.
Derek getting picked before the second Gold Fury really kind of blew that game wide open. He got picked really for no reason, got put in the portal, tossed back, and was blown up. And then from there, they were already behind, but it was a small disadvantage, and then it turned into a large disadvantage. 5,000 gold. You can really feel that in items. But that's going to do it for us, guys. The next game coming up here in about 15 minutes at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in. For Jarbear, I'm hi-rez Bart. We'll see you guys in just a couple more minutes with our second game tonight, which is going to be the boys of Fat Chunks versus Cognitive Prime.